Welcome. I'm Debbie Nolan with Henrico Recreation and Parks, and I'm excited to have you here today for gentle yoga. Today we're going to add a little flavor of something a little bit different. So as you gather your props for our today's practice, you'll want to not just have either a beach towel or a yoga mat to use, or the carpet, and making sure of the texture of your carpet. You'll also want to have your strap, tie, or sash off of a robe. Also, it could just be a normal everyday belt, just depending on what you have handy. You do want to have it a little bit longer because that helps. Good, so I'm going to lay mine to the side here. And then the third item that's very useful is blocks. Now, if you don't have yoga blocks, they come in all different sizes and widths. You can use a book, shoot for about 2 inches. Maybe it's the one you're currently reading, so make sure you bookmark the place where you're at. And then just have all of these items nearby. So I'm going to place mine there. Today, the next item that you'll need to have around somewhere, and in your home environment, you might be practicing near your couch or a chair in your area. You might have a kitchen chair that you would use. Here at this facility, we have these banquet type chairs, so I'm going to use this today. And we'll use it for some balancing elements and some elements as at the end, poses where we'll be seated at the end of our class, and we'll also use it in our Shavasana as well. So you'll want to go ahead and have your chair, whether it's the kitchen chair or you're going to use any of those other items, the couch, and have it nearby. So I'm going to move it away for a moment, and I'm going to come to the mat and have a seat. Now we'll start our practice seating in a seated position, and then we will move from there through our various poses, ending up with this chair. So just have it nearby so that you'll be able to access it quickly when we get to that point. So coming to the mat, we'll go ahead and center. Today our centering will be on our back. So you'll want to come to your mat, come to your place of practice, and then lay all the way back. Good, now starting here, bend your knees and put the soles of your feet on the mat. Good, allow your arms to relax out from your body. Good, and first just have them out at a V position away from your body. Good, make sure your nose is the highest point on your face, and if your chin is sticking up, just nod your chin towards your chest, lengthen the back of your neck, and then just allow your chin to relax back to the mat, and the head as well. Good. So as you're here, just give yourself a moment and allow your mind to start to quiet. Let's center ourselves and our environment for today's practice. Good, so once you've settled all of your tools nearby, allow yourself to start to get in contact with your breath, your mind, and your body. Let's let go of any stressors that may be present. Maybe they're mental, maybe they're physical. And just note them as you inhale in and exhale out. As you scan your body, just notice where these places are. Maybe they're areas that need special nurturing during our practice. Good, and then follow the flow of your breath and allow it to just be a natural length. Draw the breath in through your nose, down the back of your throat, and all the way to the very base of your lungs. Just notice that the entire torso lifts with that breath. Equal breath. Sometimes in yoga we call it 3-part breath because it flows in through your nose, in through the top of your chest, and then into the bottom of your lungs. Now notice how your body starts to subtly respond There's just something about steadying your breath and just allowing yourself to be present with each breath you take. Starts to allow you to automatically start to relax and release. Now let go of all the busy thoughts in your mind. All those things are important, but just not for your practice for the next few moments that we're spending together. And they'll all be waiting for you, so put them back into the periphery of your thought processes and just be aware of where you are, what you're feeling, and be present in your practice. This moment now. Good. As we start to settle, and we start to feel more in connection with our breath, let's walk our feet a little wider apart. Perhaps you put them on both sides of your yoga mat, on the rug or on the surface that you feel there. Just notice with your feet, notice if you can feel the texture of the surface right there beneath your feet. And then let's float our arms up to the letter T position. Good, so they just come out from the shoulders. Squeeze your shoulder blades together, anchor your upper body, and then inhale in and allow your right leg to go all the way down to the mat. Now, inwardly moving as if you're going to press your knee to the mat itself. So the whole foot rolls to the side. Good. And the other knee stays upright. So that knee stays upright. Good. And then inhale, float that first leg up. And then exhale the left leg down. Pause there for a moment. Good. Now a little vinyasa with these movements, and that just means we're going to move our legs with our breath. So let's inhale this knee up and exhale the opposite one down. Good. And inhale up and exhale the knee down. Very nice. Let's inhale this knee up and exhale it down to the side. Now pause right here and apply a little gentle pressure with the outside of your thighs so that the knee travels down a little closer to the mat. Again, take care that the left leg doesn't splay out to the side. Good, and just feel that lengthening down the outside of your hip and thigh on the right. Good, now 3 times again, let's inhale, float the knee up. Exhale down. Beautiful, flow back up, inhale. Exhale the other side down, almost like windshield wipers on your car. Alternating ones, that is. And then flow back up. Good, now this time let's let the left knee remain down. And again, taking care that the right knee points up towards the sky. Good, and feel that lengthening all the way from the top of your hip down to the outside of your knee. Beautiful. Let's float that knee up. Good. And then exhale both thighs together. Good. And then inhale both legs up. So exhale both thighs together. And then inhale back up. And let's flow with that one more time. And flow back open. Now walk your feet together so that the feet, ankles, knees all touch. And then exhale the knees all the way to your right side. So float, keep your shoulder blades on the mat. Turn your head and look in the opposite direction. Good, so a supine twist. You know, yoga keeps our spine healthy through all of its different ranges of motion, lateral movements, rotations, lengthening, extension. flexion, all of those things keep that spine healthy for us so that we can move through daily life more comfortably. Good, and let's float those knees up. And then to the opposite side with your nose as well. Very, very nice. Now the knees flow up to the side, up to the sky, and then to the side. I just kind of blurred that clue together. Good, help yourself up. Good, let your head come up last, and then open your legs wide. Good, so as our legs are wide, just move your props around. You may find that you want one of your blocks. Good, or pillows, whatever you're using today. Good, and this is legs wide pose. Prasarta Padottanasana. And that just means legs wide pose. Good, so placing the block in front. Good, float your shoulders back and down, and inhale, breathe up to the sky, and exhale, hinge forward from your hips. Now what does hinge mean? Hinge means that from this area, we start to lean forward with our shoulder blades together. Now oftentimes, when we bring our arms forward, we just round down, different pose. Good, so here, float the shoulders back and down, breathing up, arms come forward, float together, lift your heart. Remember, lift this part of your torso so you're creating space, and then hinge forward. Now draw the toes back towards your body. Push the backs of your knees down. Maybe you have your hands on the block, maybe on the mat. It's all good, whichever one works. Now I'm going to shift the block to the side. Now shift a little bit from side to side so you can feel the two halves of your pelvis settle. Good. So as we're here, take a big inhale. And then, you know, everybody's seen a cat or another creature sneak up on something. So big inhale, hinge forward, and maybe you just creep your hands forward. Stop when you feel a stopping point. That's the body saying, okay, that's an edge. Let's stop right here for a moment. And then you may find you can shift a little bit, and then creep forward just a bit more. Now glance at your thumbs or glance right in front of your hands. Good, and you're still glancing out, not up, not down, just out into infinity. Good. Now continuing to, perhaps you think about your tailbone, right at the end of the spine and back, and you tilt it up, and then it lifts your heart and gives you a lot of feedback in the back of your thighs. So just notice what you're feeling in the pose. Take care of your knees and your toes. Continue to point up. Good. Now maybe you can bend your elbows and go a little deeper, but if it makes you round, stop. Good. So the purpose here is to have a long spine. That just means a straighter spine. Good. So let's walk our hands over towards the right side. Now place your hand on the ankle. Good. You can place it on the side of the foot. But now that's if it's right there at you. You don't want to be all reaching for it. Remember, ankle's a great place to be. Put the hand wherever you're going to bend. We'll put my hand on my foot in a moment, right now on the ankle. And then take your other hand, place it on your hip, roll, roll, roll the left shoulder back. Good. Continue all the way down to your hip on the right and look over that shoulder. Good. Big inhale. Big exhale. Beautiful. Now, look at your foot. Maybe you change your hand position. You can also put your hand on top of your foot here, cupping your toes, and you can reach up. Good. If it's more comfortable to touch your shoulder, touch your shoulder. But lead with that elbow. If it's more comfortable for you to look to your right, look to your right. So listen to your neck and honor it. We always want to find that challenge without harm. No sharp shooting pains. Beautiful. Let's reach back up again and reach both arms up. Good. As we reach both arms up, good. Let's exhale forward and gather flowers, come up to the sky, and then dive in a pool, sweep your arms back out. Good. So one more time, collect those flowers, reach them up, and dive in the pool. And maybe you'll feel a little more open. So allow your hand to come down. Good, on that left side. Good, place your hand on your hip first. Good, take a big inhale and rotate that right shoulder back. Look over your shoulder first. So think long in your torso. Good, and long again, just being straighter. Draw your shoulder blades together. Now listen to your body as you move through the poses, and you're going to notice difference in each side of the body. Good, one side will be stronger. Perhaps you can't go as deep in the pose. Other side, more flexible, and you probably could go deeper. But find the balance between the two, because yoga is about finding that balance between the two. Now let's turn our head. Look at that foot. Maybe the hand goes over the foot. Maybe it's holding the side. Good. Now breathe in and reach up to the sky. Remember, if you want to touch your rib cage, you want to touch your shoulder, lead with your elbow. All of that is good. Find which one works for you. Look in the direction of your hand. If that's not comfortable for your neck, look to that left side. Good. So opening here, breathing in, and breathing out. Good. So creating space, creating length, and opening with rotation at the same time. So just waking up the body. Excellent. Let's turn our head towards the hand in the air. Wonderful. Now both arms come up. Good. And let's collect those flowers again. Exhale, come forward, throw the flowers over your head. Dive in the pool, sweep open. Good. One more time with the flowers. Good. Now when we dive in the pool this time, open the hands wide and collect your feet or your ankles, whichever are within reach. And remember, if they're not within reach, put your hands on the mat. Good, it's all good. Remember, if you move a micrometer in the direction of the pose, you're getting the benefit of it. I like to say that when we move with intention, we're trying. We're trying to do our best where our body allows us to be today. Today, this moment in time, in our practice. Now, perhaps today we can bend our elbows and hinge further forward. Perhaps we're up here. Perhaps we're right here. Perhaps we're here. It's all good. So find where today's practice lets you be today. Now think about this body position for a moment, because we're going to change it slightly. You know, I talk about gravity a lot. You probably noticed that. But gravity changes how your body reacts in the pose itself. So when we're seated in this position, your torso is applying a lot of the pressure into opening in your pelvis and in the backs of your legs. When we're on our back, it's a totally different effect, like we have been in previous practices together. So here we're going to take the same practice and we're going to balance with it. So in one moment. Good, now let's bring our hands to the mat in the middle and just allow your elbows now to reach down towards the mat. Now perhaps you're here with the elbows down. If you are, just look at your thumbs. Perhaps you're up here. It's all a good place to be. Go where your body takes you. Good. Tilt your tailbone up, no matter where you are. Good. And then push your feet away. I bet you can push your heels away. Excellent. Now take a big inhale and allow your upper body to round down towards the mat, like you're trying to put your forehead on the mat, whether it would ever go there or not. If you're in this area, just let your chin come towards your chest. Good. And let's flow back upright. So those were variations of legs wide pose. Now on this next one, I'm going to turn sideways so you can see it a little better. And this is our counter pose to that particular series, and it's called Matsyasana, fish pose. Now in fish pose, you're going to want to press your legs down very, very, very strongly, and you touch your feet together. So imagine that's your tail fin. You come back onto your heels, onto your elbows rather, with your heels pressing in the mat, and lift your shoulders up. Now, not so much the shoulders, but definitely right here in your heart. So you lift your heart up. As you lift your heart up, If you have no issues with your neck, you can relax your head back, or you can keep your head in alignment with your spine, just looking up perhaps at the point where your ceiling and your wall meet above your head. So keep lifting your torso, squeezing your shoulder blades together, and pushing your legs down. Good. As we open our heart, maybe we lift our right leg off the mat about 3 inches and point your toes on these. Keep breathing. And then float down. And then inhale the other leg up. Keep breathing. Keep your heart lifted. You want to imagine your sternum to be higher than the 2 heads of your shoulders. Really breathing into the sides of your ribs as well. Now with your breath, let's lift these legs again, or you can alternate or lift both legs. So you pick. And then let the legs float down. Very, very, very nice. Now, we come up, lifting up tall. Good, and as you do that, good, we're going to come into that legs wide balancing that I mentioned a moment ago. So we float our feet together. Good, make sure you're on your mat. Now I'm kind of over to the side, so I'm going to shift to the middle of my mat because this little edge will make you fall over and get karma credits. So you want to stay balanced and have stable flooring beneath you. Good, so as you're here, go ahead and collect your ankles. Shift a little bit side to side, tilt back, bring up one foot, hold your ankle, bring up the other foot, hold your ankle. Now, this might be where you want to be. Terrific, perfect. You can also hold the sides of your feet. You can also hold your big toes. And I'll show you those in a moment. So here we're at this point. So balancing, and a moment ago in Matsyasana, when we were in fish, we talked about lifting our sternum, lifting our heart, squeezing our shoulder blades together. Same thing here. So upper body's relationship is exactly the same in this pose. Now, you may find that you're right here. You may want to open one leg. Then you open the other leg. Draw your shoulder blades together. Right here might be where you want to be. Now, don't make any sudden movements like sucking in your stomach really quick. And just pause. And then open the legs out. Good. Now, that's one variation. Keep doing what you're doing. I'm going to hold my feet. Good. As I get my feet, roll my shoulders back and down. I'm going to slowly open. Good. And again, what you want to think about is, if you open to this point and your knees won't straighten, come back to your ankles. Breathing in, breathing out, look up. Legs wide pose, balancing. Sometimes people call this balancing bear. I'm not really sure why. Bring your feet together. Pause here. Now push the soles of your feet together and then reach out. Draw your knees together. Boat pose. Knees can be bent. Legs can be straight. Legs can come down. Come all the way up to the sky. And then hinge forward, round your back. That was fun. Let's roll back up. And now we're going to transition to the chair. Now, go ahead and let's find our way to standing. Best way to do it, bring one foot in behind the other foot in front. Bring both hands to the side. Help yourself up. And bring both feet up. Walk your hands back, thigh, thigh. Roll up to the sky. Then walk your feet in. Now I'm going to move my chair in. And we're going to do a few balancing poses. In the chair, you may be able to balance perfectly well without a chair. Great. Go for it. But for those of you that need a little extra, good, go ahead and get your wardrobe back in place. And then, if you need that little extra added assistance of something to feel like it's lending you stability, the chair is going to do it for you. Good. So first, find the distance with your hand on the back of the chair with the seat away from you. Good, so the hands on the back of the chair. Long arm, meaning straight arm. The other arm, just relax. So once you found that position where you're standing, feet hip distance apart. Now hip distance is not out here. Hip distance is right here. It's imagine another foot. If you have 3 feet, another foot in between your foot. So that's about the correct distance. All right, so relax the hand down, and for a moment, let's find Tadasana, or mountain pose. Now in Tadasana, lift your toes up, spread your feet wide, rock a little bit, and let your feet ground. Feel the earth through whatever surface you're standing on. Good, float your shoulders back and down, and then for a moment, shut your eyes or close them halfway. Good, turn your arms inward to the front of the room, and Tadasana means mountain pose. So, pardon the pun, but think of your feet as the foothills, and your head the peak of the mountain. Good, drop your tailbone down, and feel the earth. Now lift your toes up, float your shoulders back and down, and let your toes float down. Now have a sensation of that feeling of groundedness in your feet, and have it flow up your ankles, and imagine lifting as you feel that sensation flow up. So lifting up to your knees, let the backs of your thighs flow inward towards each other. Good, drop your tailbone down, and notice that makes the front of your body lift up. And then just allow your shoulders to drop down. So just allow yourself to be here in the mountain. Good. Now allow your balance to come forward into your toes and the balls of your feet, almost like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Good, your heels might float up off the mat just a little bit. Try not to clench with your toes or grip harder. Good. Now shift your body weight into your heel, but keep the front of your foot still attached in exactly the same way. Now when you first shift back past the center of the arch of your foot, many times we want to jerk our feet up. So press down with your foot. Good. Stay lifted in the front of your body. Good. And as you find that, lift your toes up. Spread your toes wide. Wake them up. Good. Press the ball of your foot down, and then the toes down, and come back to the center. Good. Now imagine your foot is a shoebox, and you have the inside of the big toe, outside of the little toe, inside, outside of the heel. Now notice all 4 of those points, and press them down, and lift the arch of your foot up. Now in yoga, we have an inside arch and an outside arch of your foot. So think of both of those parts. Perhaps the outside part is a new thought for you, so focus on lifting your inner arch. Excellent. Then lift from the feet to the ankles to the knees, spiral your thighs together behind your back, drop your tailbone down, and lift your torso. Now as we move through these standing balances, keep the mountain the foundation of your balance. Now keep in mind that balance is the product of a quiet mind. So if you've got a lot of thoughts rambling around in your head, let's let them float away again. Good. Excellent. And let's bring our left hand to the chair. Good. Float your shoulders back and down. And we're going to start with tree pose, Vrksasana. Now, tree pose, we see it all the time. It has different levels. So shift a little bit, find your feet again, anchor back in, and we're going to touch that right foot forward. Good, and remember, as you do this, make sure you still have arm's length on that chair. Touch that right foot forward. Good, slide it out to the side so you're moving from your hip. Turn the leg in, and first just press the heel of your foot against the ankle of your right side. Good, that is your left side. So pause, lift up through your body. Good, now think about that knee as we move through this pose and open it out to the side. Use your inner thigh. Good, so variation 1 would be right here. You can also lift the arm up to the sky or lift it out to the side, whatever you're comfortable with to find your balance. Good, so variation 1, right here. Good, If you wanted to move to another level, you would bring your foot to the calf, not the knee. The typical thing is to rest the arch over the knee joint itself. That is very hard on your knee. So calf or come up higher on your supporting thigh. Now I'm putting my foot on my calf because I'm honoring my knees. Good, but if you have the ability to bring your foot right up here in the calf of your left leg, do so. Again, tighten the thigh, roll that leg back. Good, come out to the side. Good, and flow up. Now you may be very adept at your balance. If so, just float your arms up. If you step out, no worries, come back. Good, or allow your hands to be where they are. Good, today I'm going to keep my hand on the chair because I don't want to distract you from your practice. Again, that's a busy mind. Arm might come up to the sky. Good. So we float the arm down, draw your knee to the front now. Draw it up parallel to the floor. Good, as you draw it up parallel to the floor, flex your foot. Good, and again, just reach up, and then reach out with the leg. Tighten your quadricep, the muscle on top of your thigh. Lift up, lift your heart. Reach up. Good. And float the leg down. Now before we finish here, arm comes out, touch that same foot back, and you're going to think about hinging forward. Just slide your hand forward. If you're using the chair, draw your shoulder blades together. You can place your hands on your back or at your heart, both hands, whichever one works for you. Good, so finding that place for you. And this is actually Virabhadrasana 3, which is balancing warrior and allowing the foot to come down. Very nice. So I'm going to move the chair so that we can go to the other side. So move your chair, rock your feet a little bit back and forth. And I'm going to move it so you don't have to see my best profile, which is the back. Good. So here we are. Again, make sure first you have that length on your arm. Good, so proportion yourself or position yourself proportionally so you have that arm nice and long. Good, let's find Tadasana again. Float your shoulders back and down. Now, oftentimes you see people come into a yoga class and automatically put their feet side by side. Well, that's great, but not necessary. So if your practice and you've been a seasoned practitioner, put your feet together. It does play with your balance more because you've created a very narrow base of balance with your feet together. So here for today's practice, let's just have that little bit wider base. Find your mountain, ground the foothill, lift the peak to the sky. Good, very tall first. And as we find Tadasana, then we'll move into Vrksasana or tree pose. Now always remember, trees move in the wind, so it's normal to have some swaying as you move. So let's take that left foot, touch it forward. Good, float your shoulders back and down. Good, now touch to the side. Now turn the knee towards that left side of the room so that you've opened. Good, slide the foot back, put the heel on the ankle of the right foot. Good, and first finding here, float out to the side, maybe both arms. Good, maybe both arms reach up to the sky. You may find your balancing is much more stable on one side than the other. That's fairly typical. Most people are that way. Good, you can also flow your hand to heart center. When you bring your hands inward and closer to your body, that helps you control the balance a little bit more because you're contained in a narrower space. When we reach our arms and our legs out, we create more to balance. So like the limbs on the tree, we may balance, we may float around. Good, let's bring that hand to the chair for the moment. And then if you like, bring your foot up a little higher. Now oftentimes people will push up their pants legs so that they get a better grip with the sole of their foot on the supporting leg. So perfectly good, but really tighten that inner thigh, press that leg back, and then reach up. Good, now typically, we may very well have had this pose freestanding, might very well be lifting the other arm. So if you're feeling comfortable with that, float the arm down to the side, float out to the other side. If you step out, just come back in. Good, find a balance point for you. Whether both arms are up or one arm is up. Good, just find where you're at in your practice today. Good, lots of different variations. Say even with the chair, you're a little challenged. You can touch your toe to the side, almost like a mini crossover. You can touch your toe back here or even out here, wherever that helps you. Now, balance is the number one issue with everyone as we age. Now, being the people that we are, we never like to admit to aging, but we do, and our balance is challenged. Good. So now let's lift the knee up and flex the foot. Good. Very tall. Drop your shoulder blades down and back, and then stretch that leg out. Good. Reach up if you like. Good. Now this is often augmented by your strap on your foot, but today we're using the strength of the quadricep to do that. Good. It also helps if you just tilt back ever so slightly in your upper body. Good. Arm coming down to the side. Now let's bring the foot down, touch, and we'll move into balancing warrior, Virabhadrasana 3. So touch the toe behind. Good. If you have stuff there, just shift it out of the way. Good. Now make sure that when you get ready to elevate that leg, that you haven't pushed your hip off to the side in the supporting leg. So stay balanced. Perhaps you reach out. Perhaps you start hand on thigh, and then float the leg up. Now the benefit is exactly the same right here as it is all the way parallel to the floor. Good. So find that balancing point for you today. Big thing, people lift up their big toe and the inside ball of your foot. Push that down. Good. Find your balance. Good. Maybe the hands are at the heart. Good. Wherever the balance takes you, stay here for a moment. Breathing in and breathing out. Now, as you're in the pose, I always like to tell people, I had a teacher once tell me, if you get frustrated in any yoga pose, but particularly balancing poses, step out of it, try it 3 times. Even try it 5, but no more than 5 times. Because when we get frustrated, we create a mental block against that particular pose, negative energy, just like we do on some things in life. So therefore, stop, put it away, and come back the next day, and more than likely you'll nail it at the very first time. So let's bring the foot down, bring both arms down. Good, and shift a little bit side to side in our feet. Very, 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 very nice. Good, and a little shift side to side. Let's place one hand on the chair. Take your left leg and cross it over the right leg, the right foot, so that literally your foot is on the outside edge. Press your hip towards the chair. Good, so this is an awesome stretch to use, especially if you're a cyclist, especially if you're a runner, and especially if you're a yogi. It's good for all things. Good. And we're going to shift that up, change the foot, cross over. Now press away from the chair. Now if you want a little extra added to this, reach up and look over at the hand on the chair as you push your hip away. Now take care you don't round forward. Stay open. Excellent. And then we flow back up. Now we're going to use the chair in part of our finishing poses today, in our Shavasana and in our finishing poses. So now you're going to want to turn the seat of the chair towards you. So I'm going to take this one, and I'm just going to rotate it around so that it's right here on my mat, if you're using a mat, and then allow ourselves to help down. Now, oftentimes people have trouble getting up and down off of the floor in yoga. A chair is a great accessory, even if you didn't need it for any other part of the yoga class. So think about having one around. You know, we have such a mindset that a prop makes the rest of our practice non-authentic. Not true. When we use props, we're honoring our body. We're listening to it, and that helps us become stronger, not just physically, but mentally too. So don't fight the props, don't fight the balance. So don't fight the balance. If you fall out of it, stand in a meditative way and just breathe. So now we're going to move into the floor and into our resting poses. So hands on the chair, come down to your knee, use the prop, use it for support, and I'm going to come down, lay all the way back on my back. Now here's where you have to have a little manipulation. Bring your hands behind you and bring your feet up on top of the chair. Now you might have to, just like I did, scooch around a little bit. That's technical. Good, I have my feet up on top. Good, I'm probably not on my mat, so your eyes are going to be closed. It doesn't matter anyway. Good, now shift a little bit side to side. Make sure your feet touch the back of the chair. If your legs are longer, the chair doesn't have to be touching the back of your knee. So kind of adjust based on you. Good, so here first, we're just going to hold our legs up, wiggle our toes, wiggle our fingers, shake a little bit of that energy out, and then just let it go. Big inhale, exhale. Good. One more time, wiggle all of your toes, circle your ankles and wrists, shake it out, and relax. Good. Now, make sure you feel anchored in the chair. Good. And this is resting pose, Shavasana. Good. Your arms can be out from your shoulders, fingertips open. Arms can be touching, hands can be touching your rib cage. Good. You can be out like the letter T, or your arms can be even overhead. So just pick the one that speaks to you today. Good. Now as you're here, let the nose be the highest point on your face. Palms are up. So this is a variation of legs up the wall pose. We're using the chair. Good. Now notice if you feel like your shoulders are lifted forward, shift a little bit side to side and allow your torso to start to relax. If you get any itches anywhere, go ahead and tell them to go away. Shut your eyes at this point. Good. So as you're breathing, again, just notice if you're holding your shoulders forward, allow them to relax back. Good, and as you start to feel yourself start to ground, imagine as you exhale that you're becoming heavier, and then when you exhale, you're kind of softening into the mat, releasing and relaxing. So with our breath, as we start to finish into Shavasana, again, shift around a little bit. Here we're going to do a little bit of a different breathing pattern. So if you're a number person, let's think about doing our inhale on a 1, 2, 3, 4, and pause, 1 and 2, and then exhale, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and again hold, 1, 2. Good, now continue on. So you inhale and pause, and exhale, and pause. Pause, and exhale. Still keeping your eyes shut, continue now to breathe equal breath. So flow from the pausing breath into equal breath. Now if you were to peek, don't change your position. I may be in a different position, but you stay breathing and being. Now still keeping your eyes shut. Wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes. Yawn and make funny faces. Maybe you can give yourself a really big hug of appreciation with a little pat on each shoulder. And then open wide. And then same thing, other side. Good, and then pause and turn to one side. Doesn't matter which. Pause there for a moment. Use your bottom arm for a pillow. Bring the top arm across so that it's in front of your body and just curl up for a moment, just like when you're in your bed at home, just before you wake up. In that quiet time, the alarm hasn't gone off, and you're just in that space. And allow yourself to be there for a moment. Then use your top arm. Help yourself back up to seated position, whatever comfortable seated position works for you. And then either bring your hands to your knees, backs of your hands, backs of your wrists, or bring your hands to heart center in the Anjali Mudra. Respect hands. And we'll seal our practice today. That light that shines from within each of us makes us unique. All the way from childhood, we recognize it as this little light of mine. It stays with us all our lives. We share that which makes us unique, which also brings us together. Thank you for letting me lead your practice today. Namaste.